You often want to create a map in QGIS, an output of your layout, and you can do that by going to QGIS and in the project, create a new print layout. So you'll left click here, and that gives you an opportunity to create a layout here. And I'm going to just quickly type layout 2. Now this is quite large, so I'll resize and then zoom to the page size, and see you get a panel here that you can create a layout. On the right hand side there's a place to edit and add properties and icons along the top and the side. And the first thing we want to do after we put the layout to its size or fit to the size, and if I resize it you can notice that I can do it again here. I want to add a map. This is one of my current map views that I've created, and I can create more than one. Here I'm just going to drag one out, and you see then that the map view I have here in the back is reproduced in my layout. So I have a layout here that shows what I have on the map. Now notice that if I move this map around, so if I'm working and I move the map around, or if I zoom out, that isn't automatically reproduced on my layout. If I want to match them, I have to click these buttons, in this case, to match my layout to my map extent, and so that will then resize. Now, if I don't like that, I can always go back and change the zoom to the area I'm interested in, and then zoom back to my area on my layout. You see, it doesn't zoom automatically, it's not linked, you have to do that manually. Now often I want to include other things in my map, so I might want to include, for example, a scale bar. So in this layout here, I will click on the scale bar button on the side and left drag to create then a scale bar in the corner. And you can notice that the item properties change, and the item I'm working on can be selected here in this items list. So I could change the scale bar units here from kilometers to miles or another unit that I want. I can use basically these buttons to change the number of divisions I have, and whether on the left or right side of the origin here, I can expand or change the location. I can put in subunits. So there's lots of things that I can do on the side, change its height, various other things. So the display, the fonts and colors, the positions, I'll leave that to you to experiment to change the shape and type. Another thing we often want is a north arrow. So I can left click here and expand, and it gives me this standard north arrow. I can also, if I want, embed images or other north arrows. So I can add a new picture in the layout. I can create or download a different north arrow than the one they provide as standard, and save that as an image, a PNG or one of the other common image files, and drop that in. The last thing you might want to add is a legend, and we do that through this legend button here on the left. So I'll just plop the legend here. It's not going to be in the best of places, but this is just an example. And so I open the legend, and you see there are all the properties associated with the legend. Now I can change many of these properties, so symbols on the left, or I can put the symbols on the right to change how it looks. I can also down below change, for example, the fonts. If I want to make the fonts larger, so I can go here and do the item font, and I can change the font type, picking some other one, or I can change the font size, so I can make it bigger or smaller. I can also, you notice that in this case it happened to make this background patch a little larger. I can change the background and turn it off in this case, and then I can go ahead and add a custom background. So I'll add a rectangle that's better size for the features I'm interested in. Now you'll see it first covers things up, so I can take the legend and drag it to the top, or drag the rectangle down below it, and so now it's placed in the position I would like. So I can modify these properties on the map. Notice if I decide I don't like that legend, I can click it here in the top, left click, and then right click and delete any item to make it disappear and re-add it as I'd like. Now once I have the map as I want, I can output it to various formats. So I can export it as an image, I can export it as an SVG, a kind of graphic, or I can export it as a PDF. I'll leave that to you. It's fairly straightforward. There's a couple of parameters you have to set, and then it creates the file in a defined directory. So again, pretty straightforward. So that's how you basically create a map. There's lots to this. I recommend you play with the various guides, properties to style your maps differently, and we may cover it in more detail in a later video.